Hello, I'm Sahar. Welcome to Podcasts for Life. Julia McCutchen, author, creative coach, and independent consultant, publishing consultant, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to ask you about what you said, and I quote, you said that you're passionate about the creative process as an expression of life and truth. Can you explain further to our listeners, what did you mean by that?
Yes, indeed. Well, creativity generally is very important to me. And when I said that I see this as an expression of life and truth, really I would explain that by saying that it's all about consciousness and consciousness in action. And consciousness is our true nature, and essentially we are all expressions of consciousness.
Yes.
And for listeners who have not come across these ideas before, I would just suggest that you open your mind and open your hearts to embrace the possibility that there is a relationship between what I would call essence and form, and consciousness being essence, and form being who we are and everything in the world around us. And one way of thinking about it is gently to kind of bring your awareness, as an example, to the space in between your thoughts. And space is something that we tend to gloss over, especially in the Western culture. We tend to jump from thought to thought or from form to form, and we miss the space in between. And we're missing on a great key here to accessing our true creative nature. And when I say that consciousness is all there is, really creativity is an expression of consciousness in the world of form.
Absolutely.
Which is something that in the writing process we can understand as the source of our true writer's voice. And it's also an expression of truth in the world. And if you think about all great examples of master works of art, whether it be literature, music, painting, whatever it may be, there is a timeless quality about these works of art. For example, Van Gogh's painting of the sunflowers. There is something about that painting, whether you like art or not, there is something about that painting that has a resonance with deep inside of us. And for me, that resonance is all about the expression of consciousness, this timeless quality in the world as his form of creative expression. And the sunflowers themselves, if you were to buy a bunch of sunflowers, it wouldn't cost you very much. But in terms of the painting, because it captures the essence of this creative expression, which is consciousness in the world of form, of course the painting is worth absolutely millions and millions. So that's the kind of relationship, and the source of our creative expression really is this kind of our true nature deep inside that can be accessed through space, stillness, and that's where we can reach through to the source.
So the more in tune we are with our inner space or inner silence, the more that our creative expression can be truthful.
Absolutely.
Whether we're writers or artists.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a very simple thing for all of us to take a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes every single day, just to sit quietly and just to be still and just enjoy the stillness and enjoy the silence. And it's amazing how many ideas and thoughts can come through the stillness and the silence. And I'm sure that many of your listeners will have experienced lying relaxed in the bath, and in that space of stillness and silence, creative ideas can pour through. And when we give ourselves that opportunity, lots of creativity can happen.
To bring that on a practical level, I'm thinking of writers, if they're experiencing a creative block, the thing to do really from what you're saying is not to resist it, but to rather just live through it, be it, rather than try and do anything about it. And then it shifts, and then they can tap into their source of inspiration.
That's very true. There are lots of different ways of dealing with writer's block, and being still and silent and accepting and surrendering to the process rather than resisting or fighting it, which in fact is a generic principle for any form of creative expression, is very much one way of dealing with it. in the same way, you can do. There are lots of things that you
Yes.
can do about it, in terms of you can actually write about the fact that you are blocked.
Yes.
And that can sometimes unblock the
Absolutely,
writing.
I really believe that. If you actually write down what's going through your mind, it just
Yes.
helps to defragment the brain
Yes.
or the thought form.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes physical activity, like going for a walk or doing some yoga,
Nature helps, I find.
being
absolutely.
out in nature, all of these things can help writer's block. But certainly being still and silent and not resisting, actually embracing, allowing and surrendering to that can release all sorts of inspiration.
I feel also, do you feel the same way, that sometimes when we are experiencing a block, all you have to do is kind of face up to it and allow yourself to experience it, allow those emotions to rise to the surface, and then they seem to disappear. It just wants to be acknowledged.
Well, that's very true. And also, if you think about the natural world and natural cycles, everything has a process and nothing stays still. I mean, the seed of inspiration you can liken to spring, where the seeds are planted, and then it moves through to the fullness of summer, where the expression, perhaps in writing terms, where you're in full flow with your writing and expressing your ideas on the page. And then you kind of move into the autumn and then the winter time, which is
Yes.
a time of stillness and
Yes.
quiet and regeneration and rejuvenation. And it's all part of the natural cycle. And it's a question of not resisting. It's going with the flow, accepting.
Being in tune with the rhythm
Absolutely.
of life, really.
Yes, indeed.
Julia, you have been in your journey in publishing is more than 20 years, where you've worked with different publishers, Elements Book, Penguin, Random House. You've also helped a lot of international bestsellers reach #1, also in the UK. I wanted to ask you, from your experience in terms of creativity, what is the one thing that life has taught you?
Well, life for me is very much the great initiator. And the one thing that life has taught me is that to be true to my true nature is actually all I need to do. And in fact, there's no doing about it. It's really a being.
Yes.
And being true is really the one thing that I have learned. And I think if everybody applies that to every situation in life, whether it be writing or creativity or any aspect of life, being true to your true nature is really all you need to be.
All you need to be, because it's from the heart and it's your authentic self.
Definitely.
That's a lovely thought. Well, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us today.
You're very welcome.
And for our listeners who want more information on Julia, her book and her workshops, please check www.ffmedia.co.uk. Thank you.
Thank you.